Hello, everybody. So, it's been a little while since we've done one of these. I guess it's been been actually 2 weeks now. Because we ended up missing a couple of streams due to me going to the DEF CONs. So that's all done now. So, let's see here. The important things that are going on tonight's stream is we're getting ready for what I'm calling a history of Windows bugs, by which I mean we're gonna, if I can get it working, build a test environment to go take a look at Windows 95, get things set up inside that test environment, get things all ready to go to try and take a look at Windows 95. I want to find a browser bug in Windows 95, so whatever version of IE we can get running on it, which I think is IE4, it might go all the way up to IE6. And then we're going to try and get a remote bug against it. So one of these SMB bugs or something. Although we're going to try and do it from a first principles kind of approach. There are tons of bugs in Windows 95, Windows 98, things like that. So the idea is that we're going to take a look at this using somewhat more modern approaches. So what exactly those approaches are going to be is going to depend on what I can get running. But the idea is, at least, is how easily can you attack an old piece of software using this? Have the techniques that the security community has learned over the past 20, 25 years gotten better at finding the same bugs that were there 20, 25 years ago? Or are they only better at finding the bugs that are there now? And the root of this is... So, if we think about the stuff that came up in in the 90s, back in the 90s, the kind of bugs that came up were, oh look, I copied a ton of bytes onto the stack and you overwrote my return address. And that just happened. That apparently, because I was not looking for bugs then, but people I know were, and they tell me that in the old days, you were able to, connect to a port, send it a whole bunch of A's, and in a lot of cases, it would come back and tell you command AAA not found. And that was the easy one. The hard one was you crashed it because you overwrite PC. Apparently, that used to be a thing that came up all the time. So, the problem is that most modern tools might not be as good at finding some of that stuff, because nobody's really looking for that. They're looking for, how do I find better ways to find type confusion bugs, or use after freeze, or things like that. So the classes of bugs we're looking for generally have progressed. With that said, a lot of fuzzing doesn't really care that much. So if you were able to get AFL running, AFL would be perfectly happy to say, look, you just overwrote your PC, you crashed, here's an outcome. So, I don't know. The hypothesis here is that modern tools on old OSs make it a just complete trivial, we're shooting fish in a bucket. That's the saying, right? Shooting fish in a barrel. Fish in a barrel. That's the term I'm looking for. But I don't know. So the idea here is that we're going to take a look at that and see where we get to. The other important thing that's coming up is, assuming that we can get a test environment up and working today, the plan is to start much earlier on Wednesday. So hopefully, tonight is going to be we build a test environment. We have Windows 95 up and running, maybe go as far as finding a way to capture crashes. And for tonight, we're pretty much going to call it a day then. On Wednesday, I want to start much earlier than I usually do. Ideally, I want to start right after Ginvale's stream ends on Wednesday. So that means about 4 p.m. Eastern, usually, I think. Although there's usually some variability there in times. But that's my plan, at least assuming that we can get a test environment here set up. If we can't get a test environment set up, I'm going to have to rethink things and figure that out, because if it's not working today, it's not going to be working on Wednesday, more than likely. So, in any case, we'll see. So one thing you'll notice is I don't have a VM running right now. And if you follow me on Twitter, you may have noticed that I was talking about we were going to start this stream early, and I was going to work on some graphics. And luckily, I made the somewhat wise decision that before I start drawing pictures, I'm going to unpack some of this stuff. I'm going to try and get things loaded up, and I'm going to play with it and see, can we get anything running? Can I at least start the installer? Because I imagine that installer is going to be slow and painful. And the answer is no. To start with, supposedly I have the ISO of a Windows 95 install disk, which is someone kindly provided that to me. It is their copy, and I have a license for it, so that's good. However, and if I would have done a little bit more research, I would have realized this. In fact, I remember going through this many years ago, trying to reinstall Windows 95 after I broke my home computer terribly, that in the old days, you didn't just put in a CD and install from a CD. You put in a CD, and then you had to have the boot disk to try and do anything with it. Back in the old days, a CD was not a bootable media. They didn't have generalized enough drivers to make that actually work. So instead, you had to have a floppy that had drivers for your CD-ROM on it. You booted into that, and then from there, you were able to bootstrap and install. Okay, that makes sense. Where do I find one of those? I tried a couple different things. I played around with a little bit. Couldn't get any of them to work. So what we have up over here is the Windows ADK. And if you're not familiar with the Windows ADK, the short version of it is it is the, and let's see if I can, it is the Automated Installation Kit, or the Assessment and Deployment Kit. And at least the idea for it, and there's a decent chance I am completely wrong about this, is this is designed for, I'm a sysadmin, and I'm going to deploy Windows to, like, I need good ways to install Windows on a whole bunch of computers. So my understanding is that the ADK is, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with it. You can set up all sorts of, like, net booting installs and things like that. All we're going to do is I'm going to try and build, we're going to start off with building Windows PE. And if you're not familiar with it, Windows PE is an interesting piece of technology. The basic description of it is it was designed, or I don't know about designed, I know I've used it. So in a past life, I was a sysadmin. I took care of a large deployment of computers across many buildings. And one of the things we had set up to make things easy was we had a automated installation environment. You basically start up the computer, you hit F12, you boot from the network, and it would pull up, what we had set up was a Windows PE, WinPE environment, because that way we could do a couple different things. One, we could do an antivirus scan from that, which may or may not have been necessary. The theory, at least, was that by doing it from this other console, like, the malware couldn't be running because we were booting off a network that was non-writable. And it so anything the malware was doing couldn't interfere with our scan. That was the theory. I don't know how useful it was because we never really tested it at all. It was easy enough to get set up. But the main use for it was, you know what, you're a user, you installed something on here, there's malware on it, we press the button, reinstall Windows, you're good to go. Your profile will come down in 20 minutes. So I played with it quite a bit when I was a sysadmin. Again, wow, it's been like a decade ago now. It's been quite a long time. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to remember how on earth do I build one of these things? Because many years ago, I built many of these. So I want to run, apparently, copy PE. Do I have a copy PE here? So we're going to pull this over here. No, we do not have a copy PE here. What do we have here? Oh. We're going to do x86 because we're trying to install, Oh, right. They replaced this with BCD boot, didn't they? So one thing that is going to come up quite a bit is No, they did not replace it with BCD boot. So I have at least a sysadmin level understanding of old Windows. So we maintained a Windows XP and Windows 7 domain, mostly running Server 2008. Again, this was many years ago. So if things jog my memory, I probably remember that pretty well. Windows 95 was on the computer we had as a kid, and I don't remember that very well at all. Definitely not the internals. So it'll be exciting to see what we get into here. But the modern stuff, so the stuff that we have now, I'm going to be excited to see what we find here because I don't know how most of this stuff works. Well, none of these things are what I want them to be. Like, all I want here is ideally, I want to build the ISO for a WinPE ISO. Like, it's a thing. Did I not install the right things? So we're going to try this again. So like I said, again, if you follow me on Twitter, I mentioned this earlier. Tonight's stream, hopefully it all works, and it ends up working reasonably well. But it's also going to be kind of dry, and it's going to be a lot of, how does this work? How does this work? How does this thing work? Okay, so we have the deployment. We have Windows PE. I just need to figure out how to get it. PE? Okay. Ooh, there we go. What is here? There's the copy PE that I wanted. What do I want? I need to pass it an architecture. I want x86 and a destination. So we're going to make dir d:/WinPE x86 d:/WinPE. rm dir d:/WinPE. Ooh. So one thing that's a little interesting about this, and that makes sense, but I never really considered, is so this is the Hyper-V VM that hopefully we're going to get running. As you can see, this right now is we tried to boot the disk directly, and it went, I don't know what to do with this. So we have this. I'm going to add a second DVD drive. I want a image, and I want, where is this thing? WinPE mount. Media? Where is this? Okay, so this is what this thing looks like. Like, media looks like what we want. There's nothing in mount. This looks like what we want. So I built this. What is in here? That's big. I mean, it's not big, but it's reasonably big. There's nothing in this directory. Everything's in here. Not in there. Ooh, is it sources? Okay, boot.wim looks promising. How do I turn a Wim into an ISO, right? Wim to ISO. Go, Google, go. I can use Power ISO. OSCDIMG. Okay. That looks like what I want. OSC image. Okay. So I have a source root, a target file, and an option. So I want to run OSC dimage. What's a dash B do? You know what? We're gonna do a D WinPE. What did we say this thing was? Media sources. / media / sources / boot.wim. We want to output this to, sure. Do you just work? Okay. So like I said, unfortunately, some of this stuff is a little on the old side. Oh, do I actually want to do... Fortunately, like a lot of this documentation is a little old. Long directory name with no 8.3 short name provided. Okay. I think this is what I want. So I called copy PE. I created this. I then want to copy that to... Why is this so painful? I thought this was going to be easy. Windows 95, that's a blast from the past. Yeah, so my original computer in the many years ago, so the first computer I ever had was a old Packard Bell. Well, so we had one of the like old box, like the old square Macs, which was again many years ago. But the first like that wasn't my computer. That was my that was my grandmother's computer that I occasionally got to use and play games on. The first computer I had was a Packard Bell, and it had this thing with it, which This is the Packard Bell Navigator, which had this like cool, like kind of VR looking thing, and it was this house you could move through. You can move all around this house and had different rooms with different programs in it, and an outside you could look at. There's like this kids game area. Oh, and you had this little software shelf thing. It was a cool piece of like it, especially for the time. It was really cool. So of course, I kind of want to break it now, but we'll get around to that. So to answer Radu's question, supposedly VMware works. Supposedly Hyper-V doesn't, but I want to give it a try and see where we end up. So, and it hasn't quite finished yet. So there's a few other options we have for actually building this. There's actually, what is it? The Win... I don't have the tab open anymore. So there's actually a like abandonware website out there that has a VMware image that they claim works for Windows 95. Unfortunately, it is 400 megabytes and on apparently a very slow link. So as a backup plan, I might have that downloaded soon and use that. In the meantime, I'm hoping to get an install started of our own. But I need something to boot. What a weird problem to have. No, my first real game was not Myst. I did play Myst. It was not on... So, my cousins had Myst. I didn't have Myst. My first real game... What was my first real game? I mean, probably my first real game was, like, the Jumpstart series. So, if you didn't grow up with these things, the Jumpstart series... were, you know, these educational games, and they were, well, things like Math Blaster we had, and, you know, I got really good at the Math Blaster a long time ago now. But, like, the old, like, Jumpstart 3rd grade, that game was great. I remember that game quite well from when I was in 3rd grade. Basically all these games I probably played as a kid, and played a shit ton out of them. Where were we? So, ideally, I need to get some way to boot, because if we're going to actually... if we're actually going to install Windows 95, the first step, according to this guy right here, is you format your hard drive, and you copy everything onto there. You then boot it up, and you run setup. Like that, I can totally do if I can get it to boot. But I need to get it to boot. And my thought was, you know, back in the day, I used like BART PE and WinPE and things like that. Is there like a replacement for BART PE? Because... Oh, UBCD, that's what replaced it. UBCD. Yeah? Are you guys still here? You guys are still here, aren't you? Awesome. It's Debian-based, really? Oh, that's not what I want then. So, I mean, there were all of these tools which I used quite a bit, because they actually worked. Just all of these problems. Oh, there we go. I want the UBCD for Win. Where do I get the UBCD for Win? Yeah, I'm downloading this sketchy link. This is going to be awesome. I am not running some sketchy-ass executable that I just got off the internet. Okay. And I should move this over here so people can actually see me. Am I happy with the way that that looks there? Oh, the Zoom beanies. Oh, the Zoom beanies. I don't know if you ever actually beat the game, but I spent the many hours it takes to actually get all like 160 Zoom beanies saved. It was insane, and I probably spent way too many hours doing that. But, you know, I was like 10, and what else am I going to do with my time? And it prepared me quite well for when I became a teenager and I found the wonders that were RuneScape. And at least several summers I spent my entire summer, like I remember at least one summer, I think I spent literally my entire summer break fishing up lobsters in RuneScape. Because as a, 13-year-old, what else am I going to do with my time? Like, this made sense. If I fished up 1,000,000 lobsters or whatever it was, I was going to buy myself a party hat. To be young and have basically infinite time again. If only. Ooh, there we go. This looks good. Okay, I need a... Come on, how do I... Build WinPE. Like, this should be easy enough. Come on, we're gonna come over here. So... How do I create a WinPE? I downloaded it, I copy PE. There should be a make WinPE media. Okay, where is this? I want this thing. Okay. I'm good at computers apparently. I want a /ISO. I need a working directory. WinPE, and I want a d:/WinPE.ISO. ISO. Look at this. Yep, I definitely had the Windows XP playing much too much RuneScape. That was the life, and by life I mean probably calling it a life was not the right terminology there. So I need to swap those two. Let's apply this, and if this works, okay. Cannot attach storage media to the controller. Settings. I want to add a new DVD drive. Yes. Okay. And now I want to mount in the first one. We're going to mount the WinPE ISO. And in the second one, we're going to mount the Windows 95. We're going to boot this. And, ooh, look at this. So this, if you've never seen it before, is hopefully going to be a WinPE. And you may be wondering, what exactly is WinPE? And the answer is, it's a command prompt. It's got a whole bunch of tools on it. But the important thing is, it's a command prompt. It's supposed to be a, what do they actually say about it? What is WinPE? The Windows pre-installation environment is a minimal Win32 operating system with limited services built on the Windows Vista kernel. I don't think this is true for the version I have. It is used to prepare a computer for Windows installation, to copy disk images from a network file server, and to initiate Windows setup. It is not designed to be the primary operating system on a computer, but is instead used as a standalone pre-installation environment, an integral component of other setup and recovery technologies such as setup for Windows Vista, Windows Deployment Services, the Systems Management Server Operating System Deployment Feature Pack, and the Windows Recovery Environment. So I think WinPE is how they actually made the recovery environment. If you've never seen it before, they basically got rid of safe mode on modern Windows computers. Instead, you have the recovery environment. Well, I don't think they got rid of safe mode. I think you have to manually trigger it. It doesn't just boot into safe mode if you cause a problem. The recovery environment is something that looks quite a bit like this. You have some options to fix your hard drive or things like that. But what we care about. Oops. CD. Oh. How do I mount my disks in here? So I have a hard drive attached, right? Disk part? Okay, let's see if I remember how to use disk part. Oh, this is going to be bad, isn't it? Okay, so I have disk part. Didn't this thing tell me how to use disk part? Ooh, do I have format? Format might be easier to use. Okay, you know what? We're gonna look up how to use disk part, aren't we? Disk part. Hello, TechNet. So new list disk. Sure. List disk. I have one which is 127. That sounds good to me. I want to add format. Let's format. Help format. Okay, the file system I want to be FAT32. Format. FS is equal to FAT32. Quick. Select disk. Select disk 0. Select volume. Select volume 0. Yay! What? That's not how that's supposed to work. How is this? I have the actual disk, right? Also, did I really make a 120 gig disk for... Apparently, indeed, did make a 127 gig hard drive for my Windows 95 installation. Okay, to the Googles. The Googles tell me I need to... I've selected a disk. I want to list partition. Create partition primary size is equal to 400. Select disk 0. Disk partition. Create partition primary. List partition. Okay. So I guess this works. So what we're doing here, right, is we have a bare installation. We have just the we have just WinPE, and so we have to format the hard drive, and then we're going to copy. We're going to copy the stuff we need over. Supposedly we copy the C Windows. We're going to make C Windows options cabs. Copy all that over. We're then going to copy everything into that, and then we get to run setup, and supposedly it's going to work. supposedly. I hope this worked right. Okay, we're going to format it again, just to make sure. Because ideally, when this works, we're going to be able to reboot this thing. We're going to have Windows 95 running. And if we do, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play some of those sweet, sweet games. Because I don't remember if Windows 95 came with pinball or not. Did Windows 95 have the... Did it have hover? It did have hover. Oh man, I played so much hover. Because you had that, we had this Windows 95 like demo disc, and you were able to, like, there are a whole bunch of games on there that you could play, and hover was the best one. Like, you get to drive around this thing, it's a capture the flag, like, it's a really simple capture the flag thing, and to drive around and shoot people and capture flags and stuff. Again, this is a game that I played many, many hours of as a kid. But it is so crazy to watch this now, because at the time, this was the best game ever. 3D graphics, this was amazing. Oh, he got a flag! Go, flag, go! Ooh, he made that jump. Oh, 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 oh! That's hover. Well, hello, Steven. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so that worked. Volume size is too big. Wrap. Size is equal to... What is size? How do I make it smaller? Okay. Delete partition. Create partition. Primary size is equal to 400. List partition. 400 megabytes sounds like it should be enough for anybody, right? Select partition. Format. There we go. Okay. Exit. Where is it? Mount. Oh, I remember how tricky this was. How do I mount a disk? WinPE mount hard drive. Because by default, it isn't mounted. I did that. I don't care about those. I don't need DISM. Because there used to be a... so Blackbird, he's probably talking about just Freenode. So I idle in Freenode a fair amount. Like, I'm at least idling and pound-poning on Freenode, as well as Ginvale-en, which is Ginvale's streaming channel. I think I'm still in the SHA 2017 CTF channel. But I'm on Freenode, which I assume is what Steven's talking about. That's the IRC that I'm probably most active on. What else is in here? I do remember using Like, you could actually move Explorer on here and use Explorer if you wanted to get clever. Mount fall. There we go. Okay, I want to mount. So I have a D and an E and something with no mount points. D:/. So this looks like what we're currently on. Hmm. 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 Let me check this disk out. So it could be that I'm potentially a little bit overly trusting when I was told that this was going to be a... No, this looks reasonable. Hmm. Hmm. Do I have net? Do I have networking enabled already? So, first off, let's start with the... Let's try this real quick and see where we get. Okay, this looks like what I want to see. So where did my ISO get to? Like this? So at the very least... Oh. See? This is Windows 95. At the very least, 7-zip is able to open this. If I share the ISO content on the network... Yeah, I'm thinking about that. Just using the network share. That's actually what I was thinking about just there. But I really want to know why. So, E volume does not contain a recognized file system. Like, it is mounted, right? Hmm. Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna... Yeah, we're just totally gonna extract this. We're going to... Sure, we're gonna extract there. Go. So do I know what tool Ginvale uses for command line Linux? I assume he's using... Oh, no. He actually talked about this on stream last week? Week before? You'll have to ask him. What I use is I use the WSL, the Bash and Ubuntu on Windows stuff, which I think is great. Like, I have a native Bash that just works on Windows. But this is brand new. Like, this got released 6 months ago or something. Like, it's super new. I love it for doing stuff on Windows. But he uses something else, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is right now. Refresh this. Oh, refresh this. I have this. I want to share it with specific people. Share. Okay. I'm doing this by IP address, aren't I? CMD IP config, and I want to use 192.168.5.1.3.1. Connected to your network, right? They're connected. I can't ping you. Can you ping me? Okay, you can ping me. Okay. See, this is the worst. Oh, right. One of the many things that you run into when trying to do... Can I still do it from manage? Yes. Windows stuff like this is you can't have... Oh, do I want to use the Linux guest? You can't have a username without a password. At least not that'll work across the network. The idea, from what I understand, is that this is to make it a little bit safer to do stuff. Downloads, Windows 95 full archive. Oh. Sam downloads Win95. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so we got that far. We want to copy everything into C Windows options cabs. So dir F colon? Was F colon where we wanted to be? Yeah. So make dir F colon Windows options, right? Cabs. And then I want to do a copy star to F colon Windows options cabs. I suspect we want to do more than that. How do I do recursive? I want slash. How do I do recursive? Is that really not a thing? Oh, Windows, you're so crazy. Slash E. Slash E. What? I have a source, I have a destination. No. Oh, it helps if I can type, doesn't it? Okay. I'm going to typo in Windows. Hopefully that doesn't matter. Yeah, hopefully Xcopy works. So I type... Let's see if that matters. CD slash D F colon. Oh, you guys can't see the bottom of this, can you? There we go. That looks a little bit better. Move what I want. Windows. Slash options, cabs, Oh. Why did I think it'd be this easy? Okay. The system cannot execute the specified program. What? Okay. Can't do any of this stuff. Wait, what is this? I don't really understand what architecture is. I don't care about bucket, do I? People. It has PowerShell in this thing? What else do I have here? Oh, I have Notepad. So if you've never done this before, this is one way to get a Explorer prompt that is not using Explorer. What? Sure, run it as administrator. I do not have permissions to run a 16-bit program. I've never actually seen that error message before. You do not have permission to execute 16-bit applications. Okay. If I use a fat file system, okay. Computer. Oh man, this is. Ugh. Okay. So I think what we're doing here is this is just straight up not going to work. Okay, so supposedly, now that these are copied in here, I've never come across an application which doesn't work with FAT32, only a couple utilities that normal people would be better off without. Thanks. What did I... Okay, we're going to reset this and see what happens. Eject! Going to reset this again and see what happens while we're not ejecting the disk as it goes. Did we get anything? It does not look like I've got anything. Okay, we're going for round 2 here. This one's taking a lot longer, isn't it? Come on. So there may be a couple of blips here for a second. I'm on the other screen, I am going down a different path. So, like I mentioned before, supposedly there is a VMware image that I can use. That's a thing that's out there. It is finished downloading. I'm decompressing it, and I'm converting it to a Hyper-V VM now. Unfortunately, that's a lot of UAC prompts, and I don't actually know how UAC works with OBS. The Hyper-V... Why has this not gone through yet? That's right. I have to... Sorry, I know you can't see this right now. I am hoping this is done soon. I then want to do this. That slash that dash VHD format VHD dash destination d:/95. Oh. Really? That's an odd choice. Run as administrator. Yes. On my box. Oh. Apparently I stopped getting the text. VHD format VHD destination format. Is this gonna work? This is exciting. This is gonna work. So I guess while we're waiting for stuff to maybe do something here, we were talking about video games we played as kids earlier. Like I mentioned before, like the Zoom Beanies, I played so much of the Zoom Beanies. The other game that I played quite a bit of that was a local game, and I don't know if anybody remembers this, was Creatures. I think that's what it was called. Where like you had to hatch these little alien things, and it was kind of like a Lemmings type thing where they'd move around in the world, and you helped them, and you could like they bred and they hatched new ones, and you had to keep them from dying to everything, and there was stuff going on, and it was quite the game. And I remember, among other things, I played quite a bit of that. Because I think for the most part, most of the games I played growing up were PC games, not console games. We had a Super Nintendo, and then eventually, so I had an original Nintendo, and played quite a bit of Mario on that. I think I had all 3 of the original Marios, and what is that game? There's an adventure game. It starts with a C. It's like a dungeon crawling type thing. And then we got a Super Nintendo, and I played the crap out of Super Mario World. That was the best game ever. What about after that? Got a GameCube. Now I think about it, played a lot of Mario. Like, regardless of when it was, played a lot of Mario. I think it was really just my game. So, I think it's going. Hasn't modified this file in a little while. But where is it going? Come on. I'd like to see some progress made here. Not Castlevania. No, I wasn't cool enough for Castlevania. Like, I definitely remember Castlevania, but we did not have a copy of it. I want to say, like, Apprentice, but that doesn't sound right. Like, it's going to be low on this list of popular games. Like, some of the Final Fantasy games. Like, thinking about it feels kind of like Prince of Persia, but like you were like a magician, you ran around and you like did stuff. Hmm. It was not Kirby's Dream Land. uh, if only it was Kirby's Dream Land. I don't think I've ever played a Kirby game. Like, I've played a lot of Kirby in Super Smash Brothers, but I don't think I've played like an actual Kirby game. Um, hmm. Come on. Was it Magician? No, it was not this. Mario is Missing was a game. I remember playing Mario is Missing. That game was awful. This is the one I think it is, right? Yeah, it's the one where you have to like remember geography and stuff. Yeah, so I do have. Well, I don't have it. It's at my mom's house. The original Nintendo. We had the like small version, like the second version, not the like front loading one, the top loading one. The Super Nintendo I do have here. And I'm always surprised that I can actually hook it up to a modern TV and it just works. Like I think every couple of years I'll pull it out and play through Super Mario World, because it used to be like growing up, every Christmas we'd pull out the Super Nintendo and play through Super Mario World. So sometimes when I'm feeling nostalgic, that's what I'll do. We'll pull it out, hook it up to the TV, try and play through Super Mario World, see how far we get. It's a lot of fun. Like, I definitely enjoy that game. It is probably one of my all-time favorite games. What is this game? I know it wasn't Prince of Persia. It played kind of like Prince of Persia, if I remember it. It was not Sesame Street 123, but a good guess. Hmm. Solstice. Solstice. It was Solstice. That was the other game we had. I think we also had Dr. Mario, but Solstice was the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, I played quite a bit of this game too. Man, that's so crazy looking. Because I remember this, like, that's always the weird thing about looking at old games now, is looking at them now, or like back when, you know, it was a game that I was playing, like, this was the best thing ever. Like, those graphics were so realistic. It was so crazy. Like, how could you possibly, like, how could graphics get better than this? And looking at it now, it's like, eh. Okay, I want a new virtual machine. Next, Win95 2. Definitely Generation 1. Sure, let's give it a gig of RAM. Let's see what happens. Let's give it some networking. I want to use an existing VM. So I want to use this. Go. Let's see if this works. Come on. Ooh. Ooh. Look at that. It's booting. What? You have a gigabyte of RAM. Oh man, I remember this. So for anybody who doesn't remember this, it used to be when you shut down your computer, it didn't shut itself like I do start shutdown. It didn't actually shut itself off. It came up to this, it is now safe to turn off your computer screen, where you'd then be able to press the power button and shut it off. And I don't actually remember why that was. I think it's because they didn't have support yet to actually do it from software. Like they hadn't, the ACPI stuff wasn't set up yet. Okay. I will decrease RAM and see if like somebody went Windows protection error. I need to restart my computer. Okay, we can restart my computer. Reset? Reset. Safe mode? Safe mode is best mode? Is safe mode best mode? But yeah, like the stuff people did with the like tiny size, like what is it? Super Mario. Like the original Super Mario Brothers is something crazy, right? Like it's like 80K or something like that. Yeah, the original Super Mario Brothers was 32 kilobytes. Like, I'm pretty sure the little circle logo at the top of the, like, my avatar for YouTube is bigger than the original Super Mario Brothers. Which is just crazy. Like, that entire game fit in such a small area. Well, come on. Let's try this again. Windows 95 RAM. How much RAM can I give this thing? $512 megabytes is supposed to be the limit for Windows 95. Okay, well, you know what? We're gonna shut this thing off and let's give it less RAM. So unfortunately, we might be running up against this just isn't going to work. Because while I was researching this, it was mentioned that Hyper-V devices are different than the ones, like, the Hyper-V devices are newer. While initializing device IOs. How do I change? Does this work? Like, we get this far. I kind of expect this to work now, right? Like, if I get this far, why would I not go all the way? So like I was saying, I had read some stuff that potentially Hyper-V just isn't going to work for this. Because the devices they're emulating, like, are too new for Windows 95 to even support them. Now, I'd been under the impression that most of that stuff is super backwards compatible, but maybe that's not right. Like, maybe I do need to fall back to this VMware VM and just use that. But we're gonna try. So that didn't work. I can't get a remote FX 3D video adapter though. Any other settings I can change here? Okay, well, if this isn't going to work, we're going to shut off this one too. We're going to stop the service. So the reason we're doing this is because VMware and Hyper-V do not play well together at all. Yeah. Oh, crap. Where's my license key? So that's what I'm going to try and do, is I'm going to pull up the VM that I have in VMware. I have to look at my license key because apparently all I ever use VMware for anymore is the NAT for Hyper-V. Because Hyper-V doesn't come with its own NAT. So if I want to use Wi-Fi, where is this thing? There it is. Hyper-V doesn't play well with it. So you cannot see my license keys. I type this in. Blah, 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 blah. Do I really care? I don't think I care. So if anybody was paying attention there, I was trying to talk over a little bit the typing because there have been... we'll do it later. I want... Where did I store this thing? What? What are you talking about? Did you seriously not extract everything? Oh, computer. Why are you so crazy? Okay. Go! So my hope here is that I can pull out VMware, and VMware might just work. One of the other things that I've seen recommended is Virtual PC. So before Hyper-V was a thing, Microsoft put out Virtual PC for a little while. I think they like bought VirtualVox or something. I don't understand. So Virtual PC supposedly has support for some of the devices you need. Hyper-V, not so much. But this might work. 128 megabytes of RAM. That sounds good. And I also seem to remember being told I needed to... Yeah, let's see what happens. Go! Sure, run as administrator. Go! Crap. I killed the service, though. The service is stopped. So this is one of the more annoying things about VMware, is on Windows 10, it will not run if it detects Hyper-V is running. I guess has run, maybe? That's going to be annoying if I... Like, why would I not be able to just switch between the two? That's dumb. Oh. Stop. Okay. What else do I have to turn on? Turn off. So... only care about things that are running. I don't think I have to uninstall it. Like, I ran into this recently on my desktop computer, and I seem to remember I was able to get it to do it without rebooting. And if I have to reboot, that's going to be unfortunate, because if I have to reboot, I think we're going to call this a day for the stream, because I can't reset. Like, I don't think I can rejoin a stream properly. No, I can. I just have to not mess with things. So I might be able to do that. What about this? Nope. I thought it was a specific service, but I don't. It looks like I've turned off everything that should matter. Oh, VMware, this is why I don't like using you anymore. It's so weird. It used to be VMware was like the thing to use. Like, nothing else worked as well as VMware. And now we have this. Where, like, we're talking about real, like, significant benefits to computers it just doesn't work with. Device, guard, credential, guard, VMware. What do I have to turn off? It's like, I thought there was a way to do this without having to actually do anything dumb. It's Hyper-V based virtual machine solution. No, Hyper-V is the best. Like, I love Hyper-V so much. With the exception of it not shipping with a NAT on its own, Hyper-V blows everything else out of the water. Oh, so this is saying, like, I actually have to disable it. That's not where I want to be at all. Oh, right. So yeah, I definitely do have to reboot because I was talking to somebody about it. Hyper-V is magic, and one of the reasons I like it better than anything else right now is because it's actually running, like, it works much better with the Windows kernel, especially for, like, scheduling stuff. So okay. I'm now going to run sketchy commands off the internet and set up a new boot so that hopefully this will work. Not this one. bcd edit / copy current / d no Hyper-V. And I want to do bcd edit set. Hopefully these hopefully this GUID is nothing particularly sensitive. A little bit unfortunate if I am revealing all my secrets. Okay. So this is now set up. So supposedly I can reboot. And have a no Hyper-V setup. So if everyone will bear with me, I should be back in about a minute, and hopefully it'll work then. So bye everybody, I'll be back in just a minute, and hopefully when I get back, the VMware stuff will work. Be back. Okay. So I think we should be back here, and hopefully everything works fine. As you can see, VMware booted up just fine. Whoa, that is a little on the fast side. Sure, that sounds right. So the good news is this thing booted. It actually worked. The bad news is, whoa, mouse, why you're doing this? The bad news is, my computer didn't actually like booting this way very much. I, ended up, no, come back here. I ended up, having to switch monitors because, the monitor I normally use for streaming is, not happy with this. So I want slow. Okay, this is usable now. There, it's still too fast. I will deal with this. Okay. Okay, so this actually works. We have this. Internet Explorer 5.5. There we go. There we go. Look at this. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. That AOL free trial. So this is Windows 95. Looks like it works. So like I said, I think this is probably about the point to call it then. I've got it working. Doesn't work quite the way I'd like it to. Like, I would have liked to have this working in Hyper-V because I'm actually way more comfortable using Hyper-V than I am VMware. Not for any good reason. It's just that I like the performance better, among other things. But I guess if it works, right? Like, I'm not going to complain too much that I have the thing I wanted working. What we don't have working right now is... I don't think this thing can call out. Like, let's play around a little bit first. What? Is that not a thing yet? Oh yes, I want the MS-DOS prompt. I don't want How do I do networking on this thing? This is where we go. How do computers work back then? How do I do networking on this thing? Yeah? How do I see what my IP address is? Oh, wait. That totally works. So, with this said... Oh, no. We're on Google. I want the WebKit test suite. So if you're not aware of it, one of my favorite things to do when I'm looking at a like old version of some software is I like to use the WebKit test suite. Like when I'm looking at an ancient version of a browser, it just works. Sure. Like, I don't support a recent enough version of SSL for a lot of websites to work, is what we're seeing here. But anyway, the plan is, I think we're going to get, let's see if we can... Actually, I think at this point, we're probably going to call it an evening. Like, we've got this up and running. I'm not sure it makes a ton of sense to go through all the work to do much more than that right now. Come Wednesday, the plan is going to be, we're going to get the WebKit test suite up and running. We're going to get tons of crashes in this browser. And hopefully at that point, we get to write ourselves some sweet IE 5.5... I don't want to call it O-Day, but I'd be surprised if anybody else had actually like landed the specific bug we're going to work on. The idea is going to be, we have all these things that we know are going to crash our browser. Run through them until we get something that's really sweet. Use that one to actually land something. that's going to be the plan. And like I mentioned earlier, the plan is going to be to start way earlier on Wednesday. I'd like to start when Ginvale's stream ends, which I believe is about 4 o'clock, but I'm going to talk with him and make sure I get that right. Because that way, Wednesday is just going to be, you get to watch all of the security streaming. Hopefully that'll be fun. Hopefully it'll be fun for me. Hopefully it'll be fun for you. Hopefully people enjoy that. But in any case, thanks everybody for tuning in as I fumbled around and tried to get Windows 95 to work. And other than that, I will see everybody in a couple days. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye.